Welcome to another episode of the In the Know series. Today, we're going to be focusing on fire safety, looking at fire testing, regulations and certifications. Today, I'm going to be talking to Nader and Terry about how you can make sure that the products you're specifying for your projects meet those regulations. So Terry, understandably in the market, there's a lot of nervousness about fire-related products. How can our listeners be confident that they're specifying the right fire-rated doors?
So in our opinion, the best way to make sure that your door that you're buying is a fire-rated door is to go for what we call a certified product. This means that the door has been tested and is audited by a third-party testing house and certification house. So how do you know that your door is a certified product? So the first thing to do is to speak to your supplier and ask them for a copy of the certificate which proves that the door is a fire-rated door. Once you get that certificate in your hands, just look through it and make sure that the specifications that are stated on that certificate match the specification that you're requesting from the supplier.
Interesting. So can you just talk me through a little bit? So how do we get to that point? You know, how do we get the certificate? What's the kind of process to make sure that that a product does meet fire regulations?
So it's what we call at Strongdor the fire journey, the fire certification journey. It's actually a longer journey than many people think. There's lots of steps in that journey and you have to make sure that every step is done absolutely correct in order to make sure that you can complete the journey and get your certificate at the end of it. That's why a certificate is so important, because it means that you've got the reassurance of knowing that when your door is installed, that it is actually the same specification as what was tested in the rig and it will save lives in a fire.
So Terry, is there anything else to watch out for when people are kind of choosing a fire-rated door, anything to be kind of aware of?
There is one thing actually which we want to highlight, and that is the practice of using the word built to or made to BSEN 1634 or BS 476 on the quotation. Be really careful about those words. Those words kind of imply the door is fire-rated, but actually they don't mean a thing. They actually mean that the supplier is trying to give the impression that the door is fire-rated, but actually what they're saying is that it's built in the same way as a fire-rated door, but doesn't carry any rating or certification. So be really, really careful about those words. Watch out for it on the quotations, watch out for it on the drawings, to make sure that you're not buying doors that you think are fire-rated, but are described as built to or made to a particular certification.
And so I suppose it goes back to what you were saying before, doesn't it, really, about kind of those steps to take to make sure that that door is fire-rated. And I think, you know, as you said earlier, it's ask for that certificate, check that certificate number, and almost check the certificate and make sure that the configuration of the door, the actual sizes, the actual configuration is actually in that certificate.
Absolutely, and on the certificate there is information that you can check against the door. You won't get all the nitty-gritty details about the screws and the nuts and the bolts that go on that door, but you'll get the overall scope of that certificate, and you can check that against the door you're buying. But the fact is, it's been issued by a third party. It's not issued by the company that's selling the door. So it's not them that's saying it's fire rated, it's the third party certification company that is saying that that door is fire rated.
So just to check that I'm right, CE and UKCA, they're mandatory for external fire-rated doors, is that right?
That's correct, yeah.
So Nader, you're often actually physically at these fire tests, so come on, give us a bit of an insight into what it's like.
Yeah, believe me, you don't need to be there, you don't want to be there. So basically the fire tests start a few weeks before the real test, when an engineer comes from the testing laboratory to witness the manufacturing of the door we want to test. At the end of this day, he creates a report which is we call the sampling report. In this report, he put all the detail he witnessed. For example, the quantity of glue we used, the type of glue, the type of infills we used, everything. He put everything in this report, and he put his signature on the door to make sure during the test day we are testing the same door. So during the test day, after installing the door, the test starts by turning on the furnace. The furnace gets heated extremely fast, so I can tell you that within 3 or 4 minutes the temperature inside the furnace reach around 500 degrees, and it continue increasing till around 1200 degrees within 20 minutes or less, a little bit less.
Wow.
Yes. There is always around 9 to 10 thermocouples on each leaf, plus few thermocouples on the frame to check the temperature of the door itself. There is also two radiometer to check the heat radiation coming from the door. And during the test officer, he notes everything he see on the door, and any extremely small flame that lasts longer than 10 seconds.
10 minutes is quite a long time, not 10 minutes.
10 seconds means the door has failed. Sometimes it's extremely small that they need to turn off all the lights to see it. We see many times on the internet published door tested from one side only.
Wow, so it really does seem like very stringent testing that is needed for fire doors. From a Strongdor point of view, what products do we have that we can kind of layer on top of fire if there's other things that customers are looking for?
Okay, so that's a great question, because when you start talking about layering ratings and performance and certification on top of each other, that then means you're getting a real multifunction door set. Now at Strongdor, we've been working, as Nader said earlier, about making sure that we base our doors on the same base door design for all of our doors, which means we can actually start to now layer up certifications on top of each other. So for example, we can have a thermally rated 1.5 or 1.6 U-value door set, but also with fire rating on it as well. In addition to that, we can also put an acoustic rating up to say 36 dB. So we can have them laid up, and in addition to that again, we can now start to put security rating on. So for example, we can have a Secure by Design Pass 24 door set that is U-value for 1.5 or 1.6. It can also be fire rated, and it can also have an acoustic rating. So there you've got 4 certifications laid up on top of each other on one door set, which starts to become very, very useful when it comes to specifying niche doors in buildings.
Thank you for joining us for another of the Strongdor in the Know series. It's been really interesting to learn about fire regulations and certifications. Thank you very much to Terry and Nader for your time, and I'm sure if there's any further questions, they would be happy to help you, or feel free to give one of the steel door experts a call.